moving over to tight ends, with all due respect to Mo Alley Cox, who I love, of course, we're going to move over to the top tier tight ends. I do not think, I guess I'm torn, TJ, because I don't think there's a huge difference between Travis Kelce and Darren Waller. Certainly not in the targets, but there is part of me that's saying, at some point, it's still Darren Waller. Is he really at the level where we can just pencil him in for another massive target share with the Raiders? George Kittle has sort of fallen. Now Trey Lance is lighting it up in practice. Is that going to help Kittle? Is that going to hurt Kittle? And I'm curious where you're on Kyle Pitts. So basically just a question about the top tight ends in general. How are you looking at them for, not only DFS, but for seasonal leagues as well?
I'm kind of in agreement with ADP here. I think Kelce is in his own tier because he is going to be that 27-28% target share guy, which Waller was last year, but Kelce's also in the best offense in the league. He has the touchdown upside. We've seen him doing it year after year. He's already probably the best tight end of all time, save maybe Gronk, and he's getting close in that argument to being better. He's just the clear-cut tight end one for me with the Chiefs as long as Patrick Mahomes is there. The issue with Waller, and again, I think he is in this tier with Kittle. I think he's still going to be probably number 2, if not number 1 in targets. The problem is the Raiders for the past couple of years, they've been dead last in wide receiver target share because they haven't had any damn wide receivers. So Waller's been that guy to do that.
Do you remember they had Nelson Aguilar? Of course.
the hope for the Raiders, right, is that Henry Ruggs comes along. We've seen some good things from Bryan Edwards. When John Brown's healthy, John Brown's a hell of a receiver, and no one's talking about him. So I do think there is a chance that Waller might not be the 28% target share guy was last year. Maybe he falls down to 24%. And if the huge touchdown upside isn't there like Kelce, I think you have to have him a little bit lower. I think Kittle is in that Waller tier because on a game-to-game basis, I think Kittle has as much upside as Travis Kelce. We've seen him put up huge games. The problem is he's never had this huge touchdown season. He does, on a per-game basis, he does see the targets, but again, he's only seen one season with over 106 targets. He had a 137 target season a couple seasons ago, so we know he can hit that mark. So I kind of have him and Waller bunched together because I do like the upside of Kittle. I do like San Francisco's offense as a whole, but again, he has a couple guys to compete with that are kind of similar to him in terms of the routes they're going to run. And then Pitts, man, I'm not on the Kyle Pitts is ready to be the tight end for. I just don't. I don't see how we can be drafting a player at his ceiling, and his ceiling is the outlier of outliers for rookie tight ends that we've ever seen. And I know the counter to that as well. He's listed as a tight end, but he's a wide receiver. That's fine. Wide receivers take just as long to come along. Maybe tight ends take till year 2. How many wide receivers are ready to go week 1 and putting up, numbers that are consistent with a tight end 4 is like wide receiver 2 numbers? What player is walking onto the field their first year as a pass catcher and putting up wide receiver 2 numbers? Almost none. So either way you look at it, sure, he'll be a wide receiver. Sure, Julio will be gone. That's just not the way the NFL works. You just don't show up and start catching 7-8 balls a game.
I would be fine if Kyle Pitts was going as a later tight end 1. But just for an example, TJ, Hunter Henry now injured. I don't know how long he's going to be out, but I would take Jonnu Smith in the New England Patriot offense over him, provided that Hunter Henry, of course, is not playing for a while. I just think there's too many outs for Kyle Pitts. I'd have no problem tight end 7, tight end 8, tight end 4. He'd have to really smash. Shockey had the best year, I think, for a tight end in some ways. I can't see it. I just can't.
We always have to be thinking about opportunity cost, right? If we're going to be looking at rookies, you're basically passing on Jamar Chase to take Kyle Pitts if you take him. T. Higgins, Darrell Henderson, if you believe in him, Deontay Johnson, Chase Claypool, Miles Sanders, Lamar Jackson, Odell. All those guys, I think, are guys I would rather have kind of in that ADP range than Kyle Pitts.